Discover the incredible moment a cold billionaire found his maid dancing. What followed was life-changing. James Tanner, the reclusive billionaire, had built his empire in the steel heart of Chicago. His penthouse was a fortress of solitude, adorned with glistening surfaces that reflected only his cold, hard wealth. The world beyond his windows, filled with bustling streets and colorful lives, felt foreign and trivial. Personal connections? They were a distraction he had no time for. In his pursuit of wealth, he had sworn off emotion. But that all changed one electrifying evening. Maria, a spirited maid, often found solace in the melodies of classic rock as she scrubbed floors in James's high-rise. Resilient and fiercely devoted to her ailing mother in a small town, Maria juggled multiple jobs. Music was her escape, a way to lift her spirit amidst struggles. That night, exhausted but alive with hope, she cranked up the volume and danced with abandon, her heart spilling over with joy. Unbeknownst to her, James stumbled upon this unexpected scene from the shadows of his usually lifeless abode. For the first time in years, a spark ignited within him. Watching her twirl and laugh, he felt something stir beneath the layers he had built. The joy Maria radiated was a stark contrast to his dominion of wealth. It drew him in like a moth to a flame. His icy demeanor began to thaw, revealing a yearning for connection he thought long extinguished. But even as their paths intertwined, the reality of their vastly different lives loomed like a dark thundercloud. James's business partners scoffed at the notion of a romance with someone of Maria's humble background. They warned him of the scrutiny, the judgment, and the potential fallout that could undermine everything he had achieved. Their doubt rang clear: falling for Maria would challenge his lofty status. Torn between a burgeoning affection and societal expectations, James felt the weight pressing down on him. Maria was no stranger to responsibility. As her feelings for James deepened, her mother's health took a turn for the worse. The fierce dedication to her family stood in stark contrast to the intoxicating allure of this connection. Every stolen glance, every budding touch between her and James felt like a forbidden secret, one she wasn't sure she could afford to embrace. Then, in a moment that shattered everything, Maria received a call. Her mother had collapsed, and immediate help was needed. That singular moment of panic brought clarity crashing into James's world. He realized that despite his vast fortune, he could not shield himself from loss or the ache of longing. The fragility of life loomed heavy, a reminder that life without connection was an emptiness he could no longer bear. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In that moment of anguished clarity, Maria made a choice. She stepped back, believing she had to prioritize her responsibilities. James felt the bitter sting of loneliness clawing at him. Would he let societal pressures dictate his fate or fight against the tide for the chance at love he so desperately craved? With time slipping away, James stood at a crossroads. Could he bridge the chasm between them? His heart raced, torn between fear of losing her and the flickering hope of what they could become. As uncertainty clouded the path ahead, he knew that in this battle of status versus love, everything was at stake. Will he be brave enough to leap into the unknown? The air shimmered with a mixture of hope and dread, leaving both their futures hanging in the balance, an open wound that needed healing. James stood frozen, the soft echoes of Maria's laughter still ringing in his ears as he processed the news of her mother's condition. He could feel the weight of the world pressing down on him, twisting his insides like a knot. It wasn't just the impending loss of someone he never truly knew, it was the realization of what he stood to lose. She meant something to him. More than he'd ever allowed himself to acknowledge. With his mind racing, he strode to his office. He needed to think, to figure out his next steps. The glass walls that surrounded him felt ironically transparent. He was exposed, vulnerable, trapped in a reality that seemed all too bleak. He sank into the leather chair, rubbing his temples as visions of Maria twirled through his thoughts, her infectious joy painted against the grayness of his life. He couldn't watch her slip away into the shadows of responsibility, overshadowed by pressures that felt so tiny compared to the vastness of their connection. So, gazing out over the sprawling city, he made a decision. He wouldn't bow to societal expectations any longer. He would stand by her side, even if it cost him everything. Meanwhile, Maria drove home through the meandering streets, the weight of her decision clenching her heart. Her mother was all she had after losing her father, and now, the thought of facing her on the brink of collapse sent waves of fear through her. She had to be strong. Strength was something she learned to wear like armor. Still, deep inside, as the night deepened, the ache for connection lingered, specifically for the warmth James had offered even in the briefest moments. But could she embrace that warmth and risk her family's well-being? As she pulled into her mother's driveway, the house loomed like a shadowy figure, a stark reminder of her responsibilities. Swallowing hard, she rushed to the door, hoping for her mother's strength to shine through just one more time. James didn't waste any time. After a restless hour filled with agonizing contemplation, he grabbed his keys and headed out. He couldn't stand by any longer. He had to speak to Maria, to understand, to reassure her that they didn't have to navigate their lives alone. The thought of being by her side as she faced the storm gave him strength. As he approached her home, the air hung thick with tension, every heartbeat echoing in his ears. He knocked gently but firmly, desperation coursing through him as he waited. The seconds dragged, and he almost turned away when he saw the door crack open. There she stood, eyes wide, an emotional hurricane swirling within them. "James," she whispered, both a question and a greeting. He stepped closer, resisting the urge to reach out. "I'm here," he said softly. "Let's face this together." For a fleeting moment, hope flickered in Maria's eyes. But just as quickly, hesitation darkened her expression. "You can't just come in here and change everything, but I can try," he pressed, stepping closer. "You don't have to do this alone. Not anymore." As the profundity of his words settled between them, the tension thickened, charging the air with electricity. Would she let him in, or keep him at arm's length to protect herself and her family? Maria drew in a deep breath, the battle within her raging. She felt the weight of her world, and his insistence threatened to topple the carefully constructed walls she'd built. "James," she hesitated, searching his rugged features for signs of doubt. "What if this complicates everything?" He took a step forward, looking deep into her eyes. "What if this is exactly what you need?" Time hung suspended as both their fates teetered on a precipice. Would she dare to leap into the unknown of connection, or would she retreat into the safety of solitude? What would be the cost of either choice? The moment stretched, both of them caught in a delicate dance of hope and fear. Maria's breath caught in her throat as she stood before James. In that instant, everything else faded away, the weight of her responsibilities, the flicker of her mother's illness, and the darkness lurking at the edges of her reality. There was only him, standing close enough to breathe in his warmth and determination. "James," she whispered again, yearning for connection but guarded by doubt. "It's not that easy." "Life rarely is," he said, his voice steady as he leaned in, the space between them shrinking. "But that shouldn't stop us from trying." He was right. The pressure to be strong was suffocating. All she wanted was to feel alive, feel something real. Yet, every muscle in her body screamed at her to retreat. The thought of opening herself up, exposing her heart to potential hurt, paralyzed her. "Please." James's eyes were filled with an urgency that struck at her core. "Let me in, even just a little. We can figure this out together." The tears she had been holding back began to threaten as anger and fear mixed with the warmth he offered. Her mother was sick, and she barely had the strength to face that truth, let alone the complexities of navigating a relationship with James amidst it all. Yet, there was a flicker inside her heart, the hope of something she longed for but had buried. I don't know how to do this, she confessed, her voice trembling. I don't know if I can allow you to be part of this mess. Maybe that's where we start, he said, softening. By being honest? You don't have to have all the answers. Just let me be here while you figure it out. With a shaky exhale, Maria felt the walls she'd built beginning to crack. She took a tentative step forward, her body betraying her heart's desire for closeness. You mean it, don't you? I wouldn't have come if I didn't, he said, the sincerity in his voice wrapping around her like a familiar embrace. As she looked into his eyes, she saw something there, a reflection of her own turmoil, yet something hopeful, something reassuring. The battle within her raged on, but a spark of courage began to light the way. Maybe she could be strong enough to let him in. But just as she felt herself leaning toward that warmth, a sharp pang of guilt seized her. Was it fair to involve him in her troubles when he had his own life to lead? What if I pull you into my chaos, and you regret it? The thought sent icy fingers down her spine. Or, he countered gently, what if we help each other? What if facing it together makes everything a little less chaotic? As uncertainty tangled in her heart, Maria took another breath, softer this time, inviting him to stay. Okay, she said, her voice barely more than a whisper. Okay, let us try. James smiled, a genuine warmth spreading across his face. That's all I ask. Yet, before they could dive into their shared vulnerability, an unexpected wave of uncertainty crashed in. Maria's phone buzzed from inside the house, shattering the moment with the sharp reality of the situation. A notification from her mother's doctor flashed on the screen, sending a bolt of tension straight through her chest. Wait, she stammered, eyes darting to the phone, then back to James. He felt her hesitation again. Whatever it is, he encouraged, you don't have to face it alone. Would stepping into the unknown with him still be an option amidst the impending storm? As Maria pondered her next move, she felt the weight of her decision linger in the air like a dark cloud. Could she really allow herself this pause for hope? James, the doorbell rang, cutting her off and sending her heart racing. The storm was coming, and this time, it wasn't entirely about her mother. Would she dare to open the door to whatever was waiting for her on the other side? Maria turned sharply toward the door, her thoughts spiraling. The unexpected sound created a rift in her fragile moment with James. Her breath quickened, anxiety clawing at her. Do you want me to get it? James asked softly, sensing the shift in her demeanor. She shook her head, her heart racing for reasons she couldn't quite analyze. The doorbell rang again, an insistence that felt both intrusive and urgent. No, she said, almost to herself. I need to know. With a steadying breath, she stepped back from James and approached the door. Each step felt heavy, like dragging her feet through clay. Her hand hovered over the doorknob. What did she want from this moment? Did she want to face whatever stood beyond that door? Or was she simply too scared to let go of what little hope she had found in James? Maybe it's just the delivery person, James suggested, breaking the silence. But the pit in her stomach told her it was something more. Gathering courage, she finally turned the knob. The door swung open, revealing a figure cloaked in the dim light of the street lamp outside. Rob, her mother's neighbor. His face painted with concern and urgency sent a fresh wave of dread through her. Maria. I'm so sorry to disturb you, he said, breathless. It's your mom. We need to talk. Panic struck her like a lightning bolt. What happened? Is she okay? The words tumbled out in a rush, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Rob hesitated, glancing back as if checking for an unseen audience. I think you should come with me. She's not well. The world around her blurred, the night suddenly feeling cold and heavy. Can't it wait? James is here now. Isn't the time, Rob interrupted gently, but the urgency in his eyes was unmistakable. Maria felt James step back, allowing her space but still near enough that she could sense his presence. A comforting weight. "I'll be right there," she reassured him, her voice shaky but determined, like a lifeline thrown in stormy seas. She turned to Rob. "Let us go." Her heart pounded harder than ever, fear mixing with the undeniable instinct to protect her mother, to fight through whatever lay ahead. Rob led the way, and as they walked, the coolness of the air connected with the whirlwind inside her. How could she manage this? How could she choose to be strong for her mother when she had felt so weak just moments ago? The distance to her mother's apartment felt greater with each step, heavy with unspoken fears. As they approached, Maria felt a shudder of apprehension. She turned to Rob, a question in her eyes. Was it bad? He looked straight at her, compassion radiating from him. "Just stay strong." His words echoed as they entered the small, familiar space. The faint, antiseptic smell of the hospital-like atmosphere greeted her, enhancing her anxiety. Her mother's frail figure lay on the couch, an unwilling occupant of the world around her. The sight prompted a mix of emotions: heartbreak, frustration, and a deep-seated terror that sparked within her. "Mom?" Maria's voice trembled, and she rushed toward the couch, ignoring the wave of discomfort that flooded her. The woman on the couch looked up slightly, her eyes clouded but filled with love. "Maria, dear, you shouldn't have to see this." "No," Maria replied firmly. "I'm here. We're going to get through this together." James lingered at the edge, his presence a silent support. But could she still let him in when everything was crumbling around her? The chaos of emotions spiraled, the weight of what was happening threatening to drown her. As she knelt beside her mother, holding her hand in a gentle grip, Maria couldn't shake the feeling that this moment would alter everything. Was she ready to face not just the storm, but whatever might blossom on the other side? James stepped closer, his hand resting gently on her shoulder, grounding her. "Remember, you don't have to do this alone." But even as those words offered solace, another door had just opened. What awaited her in this new chapter of her life? "Mom, talk to me," Maria urged, searching her mother's eyes for strength. With the weight of uncertainty in the air, she realized this was just the beginning. The real fight was about to unfold. What would she discover in the depths of this turmoil? Maria squeezed her mother's hand tighter, feeling both fragile and fierce. In that moment, she knew the fight wasn't just hers. It belonged to her mom too, and they would tackle it together. "Mom, please. I need to know what's wrong," she urged, hoping for any sign of recognition, any spark of the woman who had always been her rock. Her mother's gaze wandered, momentarily lost in thought. But then, slowly, she nodded. "I've been feeling off. Just tired and overwhelmed, you know? I didn't want to worry you." "Worry me? You're my mom." The words came out harsher than she intended, a flash of frustration bubbling up. But as Maria looked at her mom, lying so vulnerable, the pain melted away. She softened her voice, "I'm here now. Let us get you the help you need." Rob stood quietly by the door, sensing the heaviness in the room. He had seen too many families go through this, and it broke his heart each time. "I can call someone to come check on her?" "Just to make sure everything is okay," he offered gently, shifting some of the burden. Maria nodded, not trusting her voice just yet. She watched Rob pull out his phone and step outside, giving her a moment. "Sweetheart," her mother spoke softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Please don't blame yourself. I'm just getting older, and there are things I can't control." "I would never blame you," Maria reassured her, brushing aside a loose strand of hair from her mom's forehead. I wish I could take this from you." Her mom smiled weakly, but the intensity of her eyes revealed worry and something deeper. "You've always tried to do too much for everyone." It was a familiar accusation, but it hit differently now. Maria felt her heart clench. Was she trying to handle everything? Was she risking her own happiness by carrying the weight of others? "Maybe I have," she admitted, her voice low. "But I want you to be okay." Please let me help. Suddenly, a soft sob escaped her mother's lips, and Maria's breath caught in her throat. She had long ago learned the art of hiding emotions, but now it felt as if the dam had broken. I'm scared, Maria. Sometimes I feel so lost in this life, and I don't want you to feel that way too. The admission broke through the surface, raw and unfiltered. Wrapping her arms around her mother, Maria hugged her tight. You're not lost. We'll figure this out together, I promise. James stepped back into the room, his face a mosaic of concern and sympathy. His eyes landed on the two of them, a moment of understanding passing between them. Maria could feel his steady presence. It gave her a sense of calm in the sea of turmoil. She looked up, and without thinking, she reached for his hand, intertwining her fingers with his. Can you stay? Just for a little while? He nodded, his grip reassuring. I'm not going anywhere, Maria. As the minutes trickled by, the atmosphere shifted. They started talking about the small things, the routines that held their lives together and how to tackle the chaos ahead. The conversation felt like a balm, slowly easing the tension wrapped around them. Maria's gaze fell to her mother, who seemed to relax just a bit. I remember when you used to dance around the living room, her mother said softly, a hint of a smile returning. You always brought joy into this place. It was true. Maria had danced through life, sometimes in celebration, other times just to shake off the darkness. Maybe it's time to dance again, Maria suggested, hoping to lift the heaviness a little. The thought felt impossible given the situation, but it also felt necessary somehow. Just maybe? Her mother mused, raising her brows with a hint of humor. Maria laughed lightly. Yes, just maybe. We could use some joy, don't you think? But as her mom smiled weakly, Maria's heart tightened again. That joy felt miles away, shadowed by uncertainty. What if they didn't find their rhythm again? Would they lose everything they built together in the process? Before she could spiral too deep, Rob returned, voice steady. The doctor is on the way. With her mother's hand still steady in hers and James holding her close, Maria took a deep breath. The night may hold challenges, but she was ready. They would face whatever came next together. But as the door clicked behind Rob, sealing them in this charged space, Maria couldn't shake the impending question, how deep did the current run, and at what point would it sweep them away? Maria felt as if time stood still in that small room. Her mother's frail hand was warm in hers, steadying her heartbeat against the uncertainty looming over them. The air was thick with a mix of hope and fear. Her gaze flitted between her mother and James, who looked uncharacteristically serious, his brow furrowed in concentration. The door creaked open just as her thoughts spiraled further into the depths of anxiety. A doctor walked in, clipboard in hand, his smile firm yet gentle. Good evening. I'm Dr. Lewis. What seems to be the issue? Maria's mother sat up slightly, brushing away the moisture forming in her eyes. I've been feeling unwell, she began, her voice trembling just a bit. As her mother spoke, Maria felt a sinking sensation in her stomach. She wanted to scream out, to ask the doctor to wave a magic wand and make everything okay. Instead, she tightened her grip on her mom's hand, focusing on the warmth radiating from her. Dr. Lewis listened attentively, nodding as he took notes. We'll make sure to get to the bottom of this, he assured them. His presence was calming, and for a moment, Maria clung to the hope that perhaps answers would also bring relief. Do you have any specific symptoms? The doctor's voice was steady, guiding her mother to confess the doubts that had haunted her for days. Just fatigue, her mother admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. And sadness, I guess. Sadness? Dr. Lewis raised an eyebrow, his interest piqued. How long have you been feeling this way? Too long, Maria interjected, feeling a protective ire rise in her chest. She needs help. Sometimes, the doctor began, it's not just physical fatigue. Emotional weight can be just as heavy. It can be a sign of something more profound. Maria's heart sank again. Was her mother's sadness the beginning of something worse? Thoughts of shattering into pieces flickered in her mind like lightning. She glanced sideways at James, who remained focused on her mother, his eyes full of quiet understanding. "Let us run some tests," the doctor continued, breaking her thoughts. "I know this is unsettling, but taking some proactive measures can help us find clarity." Taking a deep breath, Maria nodded. "Okay. Whatever we need to do, let us do it." Moments passed as they settled on a plan: a blood test, a few questions about her mother's lifestyle, and even a mental health screening. Each step felt monumental, like climbing uphill with an ever-heavy load. Once Dr. Lewis exited to make arrangements, Maria turned to her mother, searching her face for any hint of reassurance. Her mom's eyes swelled with unshed tears instead, and Maria felt her own resolve wavering. "Don't cry, please," she whispered. "We're going to get through this. I promise." "Do you remember our song?" her mother asked suddenly, as if the thought provided her an anchor. "The one we danced to?" "Yes." She chuckled softly, nostalgia weaving through the heaviness. "We used to make up silly dances in the kitchen." A tiny spark ignited within Maria. "Let us make a pact. After this, we'll dance. No matter how we feel, we'll find a way to dance again." Her mother smiled faintly, though Maria could tell it was a fragile smile. Just then, Rob returned, a serious look on his face. "There's someone here to see you," he announced, and movement behind him caught Maria's eye. It was an elderly woman, her hair silver and tied back in a neat bun, clad in a simple, elegant dress. She seemed familiar, yet Maria couldn't quite place her. "Mrs. Anderson?" the woman called softly, stepping inside. "I'm here to help." Confusion washed over Maria as she took in the stranger. What help could this woman provide? Little did she know, this unexpected visitor would steer the family in a direction they had never anticipated. And at that moment, Maria's heart raced again. What secrets did this woman carry, and how would they change everything? The woman's eyes twinkled with quiet determination, her expression both comforting and resolute. "I know this may seem unusual," she began, her voice low and soothing. "But I promise, I'm here to help your family." Maria felt a flicker of skepticism rise within her, but she pushed it aside, searching her memory for where she might have seen this stranger before. "Who are you?" Maria asked, trying to steady her voice as unease washed over her. "How do you know my mother?" The elderly lady took a step closer, her gaze shifting to Maria's mother, who remained silent, her eyes wide. "My name is Agnes," she announced softly. "I was a friend of your grandmother. Your mother and I spoke when she was a little girl. I've come across some difficult times myself, and now I believe it's time to give back." Her words stirred something deep within Maria. She had heard stories of her grandmother from her mother, stories filled with laughter and love. But there was also sadness, moments of struggle that shaped their family's story. "Are you a doctor? A therapist?" Maria pressed, searching for some answers, though the stress of the situation made it hard to think clearly. "I may not wear a medical coat," Agnes replied with a gentle smile, "but I possess something that can tend to wounds that don't show on the surface." Maria shifted uncomfortably in her chair. She felt a mix of hope and wariness. "What do you mean?" Agnes settled into the empty chair next to Maria. "I have a way of helping people reconnect with their lost happiness," she explained brightly. "It's through music and dance. It reawakens the spirit and mends the heart." "When did you last dance with your mother?" Maria's heart tightened at the question. It had been too long. They used to dance in the living room, twirling and laughing until they collapsed into fits of joy. That felt like a lifetime ago. "My mother, she's been so tired lately," Maria managed to say, her thumb running over her mom's fingers. "I don't want to force her to do anything." Agnes' smile widened. The beauty of dance is that it doesn't require energy, only the willingness to let the music guide you. It's about creating memories, even in moments of sorrow. A small part of Maria wanted to reject the idea and remain in this world of hushed anxieties and sterile rooms. But another part, it was the part connected to those cherished memories, begged her to consider the possibility of joy. Her mother deserved to experience life fully, even if just for a moment. "I'll think about it," Maria finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. Agnes nodded as if she understood the weight of that decision. Just then, the sound of bustling footsteps echoed from the hallway, breaking the fragile moment. Glancing over her shoulder, Maria saw Dr. Lewis returning, his clipboard now stacked with papers. His eyes rapidly scanned the room as he stepped inside. "Ms. Anderson, I have the results of your mother's tests," he announced, his tone somber yet reassuring. "If we could talk privately for a moment." Maria exchanged a look with her mother, and for the first time, the silence spoke louder than words. Every heartbeat felt like a drumroll, a prelude to something momentous. As the doctor prepared to share the results, Agnes rose, her voice a soft murmur in the air. "Whatever may come next, remember, sometimes, it takes a little light to guide you through the darkness." With that, the room around Maria blurred as her focus fell entirely on the doctor, anxiety coursing through her veins. What were the results? Would they reveal a path to healing, or would more uncertainty loom ahead? The air felt thick again as Maria waited, tension building in her chest. What would the doctor say? And how would it change everything they had been grappling with? Dr. Lewis pressed his lips together, gathering his thoughts as he studied both Maria and her mother. His brows knitted in a way that made his concern obvious. "This isn't easy to discuss," he began, the weight of his words hanging in the air like an unspoken cloud. "Is it bad?" Maria's voice trembled. She tightened her grip on her mother's hand, desperate for some kind of reassurance. The doctor exhaled slowly, the kind of breath that suggested he had just delivered distressing news time and again. "We need to talk about your mother's condition. The tests showed some concerning signs." His eyes lingered on Maria, gauging her reaction. In that moment, Maria felt a cold wave wash over her. She had mentally braced herself for something, but the words still cut deep. "What does that mean?" she managed, her heart racing. "It means we need to act quickly. There are medications we can try, and I recommend you consider a treatment plan that will include therapy, both physical and emotional." Maria swallowed hard, her throat dry. "What type of therapy?" "Sometimes emotional and mental struggles can have physical manifestations. Your mother's weariness isn't just about tiredness, it can be linked to underlying stress or depression." His words echoed in her mind as she looked towards her mother, trying to see beyond the fatigue that had become so familiar. Had she been so consumed by her own worries that she hadn't noticed her mother's despair? "Honestly, I think some joy might spark her spirit, even if it feels out of reach right now," Dr. Lewis added. "A support system is vital." Maria felt Agnes's gentle presence behind her, as if she was the anchor in a stormy sea. She caught Agnes' eye, and for a brief moment, something hopeful flickered there, a promise that perhaps not everything was lost. "You suggested something about music and dance," Maria said, looking back at Agnes. "Can we try it? Maybe it could help her feel better." Agnes nodded fervently. "Absolutely. Music can tap into places we forget we even have. Let it become a bridge between you two, a way to communicate what's difficult to express." Maria's heart ached at the thought. "What about the treatments?" Dr. Lewis replied, "They're absolutely crucial. But blending that with some light-hearted moments could make a difference in her recovery." In that instant, something shifted within Maria. She realized that the path forward didn't solely rely on the doctor's prescribed medications. Maybe it included laughter and familiarity, too. The dance they had once shared. "I'll do it," she announced, determination igniting in her chest like a tiny flame. "We'll dance. We'll make some music again." A soft smile broke across Agnes' face, as if she had just witnessed a transformation. "Wonderful," she said, her voice warm. "Let the rhythm take you both where words may fail." Maria turned back to her mother, her mind racing with possibilities. They could reclaim moments, bringing forth the joy that lay dormant. But just then, a deeper notion began to stir within her. What if the dance wasn't just for her mother? What if it could heal her, too? As they wrapped up the meeting with Dr. Lewis, Maria felt lighter, but a question nagged at her. Could the fear of losing her mother overshadow the joy of healing? Could she truly embrace the dance that awaited them both? "Let us not waste time," Maria breathed, glancing knowingly at Agnes and then back to her mother. "We start tomorrow." Agnes's eyes sparkled in the dim light of the hospital room. "That's the spirit. Change is often just a step away." But as they exited the sterile walls of the hospital, Maria caught herself hesitating. Could facing their shared memories change everything? Tomorrow would reveal more than just music, it could uncover hope. With her heart pounding in rhythm to her own resolve, she prepared herself for a day that would either break or build them, blending nostalgia with uncertainty. In the end, all she could hold on to was faith the dance had to lead somewhere. And as Maria glanced one last time at the doctor, an unsettling thought flashed through her mind. Would the music be enough to guide them through whatever darkness lay ahead? The next day dawned bright and crisp. Maria woke to a symphony of bird songs, each note a reminder of the life pulsing around her. Somehow, that morning felt different, lighter. She felt a mix of anticipation and fear bubbling up inside her, each emotion flowing in tandem as she prepared to face the day that held so much promise. After breakfast, Maria took a moment to gather everything she needed. The old record player that had sat idle in the corner for years. A handful of her mother's favorite records, scratched but filled with glimpses of happier times. She could almost visualize her mother swaying to the melodies. Maria hoped those tunes would spark something inside her mom, something buried beneath the exhaustion and worry. When she arrived at the hospital, the sterile scent welcomed her. She took a deep breath, steeling herself. What if this didn't work? What if the dancing brought anguish instead of healing? Those fears lingered like shadows. But she had promised herself. And most importantly, she had promised her mother. As she entered the room, there was her mother, propped up with pillows, looking fragile yet beautiful in the morning light. A mix of hope and sorrow washed over Maria. Agnes was already there, adjusting the vinyl records on the player's dusty surface. "Hey, Mom," Maria said softly, crossing the room to hold her mother's hand. "We're going to try something today." Her mother's tired gaze shifted, curiosity peeked through the haze of fatigue. "What do you mean, sweetie?" "I brought music," Maria replied, her heart racing. "Let us dance together." The corners of her mother's mouth turned up, though it was slight. "Dance? At my age?" "Yes. It'll be fun, I swear. Just let yourself feel it." Maria flashed a smile, hoping to coax her mother's spirit back. Agnes nodded earnestly, already ready to hit play on the record player. "Let the music wash over you. It's more than just sound, it's a pathway back to joy." As the needle dropped, the familiar crackle of the record filled the room. The first notes struck a chord deep within Maria. Her feet tapped instinctively, drawing her mother's gaze. Suddenly, something shifted. For the first time in a while, Maria could see her mom's eyes brighten ever so slightly, the hint of recognition appearing as the upbeat tune began to swirl around them. "Join me, Mom," Maria called, her voice threading a tapestry of warmth and hope. She pulled her mother closer, guiding her to move with the rhythm, just a little. At first, it was stiff and awkward, both of them laughing nervously, but the music wrapped around them like a soft embrace, and slowly Maria felt her mother start to loosen up. They swayed gently, overcoming years of silence with laughter that felt healing, a balm for wounds both familiar and unspoken. But just as Maria thought they had found their groove, the door creaked open, revealing Dr. Lewis peeking in. His eyes widened at the sight, caught off guard by the radiant warmth emanating from the room. What he saw was a moment painted with joy against the backdrop of sickness. It was a reminder that life still held beauty, even amidst the shadows. He stepped in, not wanting to capture what felt so private, yet unable to turn away from a glimpse of hope. Maria froze, feeling a rush of vulnerability. Had they gone too far? Had they crossed a line into an uncharted territory of emotions? Would this unexpected guest affect the delicate bubble they had created? Dr. Lewis hesitated but then smiled gently. "This is what we need, Maria," he said, taking a step closer. "This is part of the healing." Tension eased but excitement flickered within Maria. Could dance truly become the bridge to something entirely new? As the music played on, floating in the air, Maria sensed the walls of their struggles slowly crumbling. Each note they moved to felt like a celebration of the life still entwined between them. Yet with every joyful step came a reminder of the reality ahead. Could this dance continue? Would it shield them from the harsh truth looming just beyond the walls? As the song came to a close, Maria realized this was just the beginning. What lay ahead would demand more than fleeting joy. Could they transform this small spark into a flame that would guide them home? And as she caught her mother's gaze, filled with life for the first time in ages, Maria knew tomorrow would be another chance to uncover more than just music. It might also unveil secrets and strength they never knew existed. Would the upcoming challenges shake this new bond, or strengthen it ultimately? With the final notes of the record drifting into silence, a palpable shift filled the room. Maria looked at her mother, who was breathing a bit quicker as if newly awakened from a long sleep. A smile broke across her face, echoing the joy Maria had fought so hard to cultivate. "See? That wasn't so hard." Maria beamed, her heart swelling with triumph. "We can do this, together." As her mother chuckled, a faint blush crept across her cheeks. "I can't believe I actually did that," she exclaimed, laughter spilling from her lips like sunlight breaking through clouds. "Just wait until the next song," Maria promised, her excitement bubbling over. But deep down, the uncertainty still lingered. Would this happiness last? Could they truly overcome the shadows that had clouded their lives? "Let us keep going," Agnes interjected with enthusiasm, eager to maintain the momentum. She carefully flipped the record and prepared to play another song, a classic that held deep meaning for both mother and daughter. This was not just about movement, it was about connection, history, and healing. As the new melody filled the air, an unexpected wave of nostalgia swept over Maria. Memories of twirling in the living room with her mom flooded back, those little moments of joy that felt so far away just yesterday. "Remember this one, Mom? We used to sing it at the top of our lungs." Her mother's eyes sparkled, a glimmer of recognition illuminating her face. "How could I forget that?" She joined in, her voice a touch shaky but growing steadier with each note. The doctor watched quietly, proud and moved by their transformation. It was more than just a dance, it was a release, a bold statement against the weight of their circumstances. Maria caught Dr. Lewis's eye, and in that moment, they exchanged a knowing look. This was the power of connection, the bridge between pain and healing that they had all been searching for. "It's worth it to keep going," he whispered, a subtle promise woven into his praise. If joy could be awakened through simple movements and songs, what else might bloom from their newfound resolve? Maria felt a pull from deep within, a strength growing, urging her onward. They could face challenges more substantial than this day, but today was for celebration. "Let us add some choreography," Maria shouted amid laughter, a playful challenge. "We can make it a routine." Her mother looked hesitant, glancing at Agnes. But the elder woman chuckled warmly. "If you can lead, I'm more than ready to follow. Let us make this a family affair." James suddenly interjected, stepping closer with a grin that radiated sincerity. "I might not be a dancer, but there's no way I'm missing out on this exciting project." Both women looked surprised but delighted. "You?" Maria teased, laughing lightly. Absolutely. Just point me in the right direction, he said with enthusiasm. The encouragement brought them together. Here was a man, once buried beneath the weight of his wealth and isolation, now stepping into a realm where love and connection held greater sway than status. And just like that, they turned the challenge of healing into a community effort, linked not by hardship but by hope. They spent the next hours creating small sequences, testing movements, and exploring rhythms. Hours passed, and laughter echoed through the hospital room, stripping away raw edges. Stumbling, laughter, and even a few fluffs filled each moment with warmth. They had turned pain into a dance, creating moments that would forever be etched in their hearts. But as the day wound down and reality threatened to intrude on their joy, Maria's fear nagged at her. Would this joy last when the real world came knocking again? Would the dance be enough against the looming uncertainties, especially regarding her mother's health? Just then, Maria's phone buzzed, a reminder that entered with the weight of urgency. Was it the doctor? What did it mean? She exchanged a meaningful glance with her mother and James, drawing strength from their presence, a collective unit standing at the precipice of uncertainty. Whatever it is, Maria said, her voice firm, we're doing this together. So, with the weight of familial love reinforcing her heart and the spark of hope igniting her spirit, she pressed her fingers against the screen, awaiting answers that could unveil a path toward healing or throw them back into chaos. As the music faded, the true dance of their lives began. Whatever uncertainties lay ahead, they were ready together. In this unified front, they would not just face challenges but would embrace transformations that allowed their spirits to thrive. And as they reached for one another, the vibrations of their laughter, shared hope, and joy resonated deeper than ever, filling the air with a melody impossible to ignore. So, what would come next? Would it vanish, or would it grow into something unbreakable? Only the future would tell, but in this moment, they had one another. With everything they had faced, Maria looked into her mother's eyes, feeling home in that gaze. Together, they were unstoppable. Together, they could face anything. Now it's time for you to get involved. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey. Leave a like now, it helps the algorithm and fuels our community. And comment your reactions and feelings about this transformative ending. Let us hear your voice. Share this with at least 5 friends who need to see this amazing story unfold. Let us spread this journey far and wide.